everybody, welcome to my next video. If it looks like my screen is shaking a little bit, there's a reason for that. My laundry room is in the room next to where I am right this minute, and the washer is running, so it's making the camera vibrate on top of my computer. So that's what's going on, is the camera's vibrating. But anyway, I'm sorry I kind of went on a rant in that last video about Kara and everything, because I have extremely strong views about, you know, how to improve education and everything. I mean, it's like if I could get a job in the government, it would be to do something like that, how to improve the education. I mean, so if Mr. President, if you're watching, you know, and you watch this video and watch the last video, yeah, seriously, I would love a job in the government doing that. I mean, if you could help me out on that, you know, I would appreciate that. But anyway, that aside, you know, this is kind of another one of those I saw it on Yahoo kind of things. And this was also from last month, about, you know, it was well over a month ago. And this kind of ties in with the education thing, if you're into history and everything. This is called 5 Spooky Titanic Stories by Victoria Leigh Miller. And this was written on April the 6th of this year, which, like I said, is over a month ago. Today's the 10th of May. Yeah. Okay, here's what Victoria had to say in 5 Spooky Titanic Stories. I want to read this more or less verbatim, so bear with me. April 15th marks the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the RMS Titanic. And while the stories of the doomed luxury ship have been in the headlines for the past century, there are also stories of another kind, ghost stories. Check out these spooky stories about the Titanic. In the aftermath of the Titanic tragedy, search and rescue teams removed 328 Titanic victims and temporarily brought their bodies to the Snow and Company funeral parlor in Halifax, Nova Scotia. According to Encompass magazine, the funeral home is now the Five Fishermen restaurant, and the original pulley used to hoist the Titanic cadavers to the building's upper level still hangs in the wine room ceiling. Today, bizarre occurrences such as a glass flying off a shelf and cutlery falling to the floor when no one is near are common occurrences at the restaurant. Manager Gary McDonald has said of the building's ghosts, "You must acknowledge them or they will pull stunts." In 2008, the Atlanta Constitution-Journal published a story about the Georgia Aquarium after the Titanic Aquatic exhibit was featured there. Several aquarium volunteers reported strange encounters as they worked on the exhibit, which featured hundreds of Titanic-related artifacts. The aquarium staff brought in paranormal investigators who determined that the Titanic exhibit was indeed a spirit dwelling. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, in the 1990s, a San Francisco man named Jamie Rodriguez claimed that he was being haunted by a ghost before finding that a Titanic survivor once inhabited his apartment. But former tenant Dr. Henry Washington Dodge was not considered a Titanic hero. While Dr. Dodge claims that he called out for women and children to take a spot in the lifeboat that housed his wife and son on that fateful night, he inevitably climbed into the boat and endured public scrutiny for the rest of his life. After undergoing a lawsuit and a financial beating, Dodge sunk into a depression and committed suicide in his San Francisco apartment in 1919. His ghost appeared in the apartment every summer for years and always in the same spot. Legendary socialite Molly Brown survived the Titanic sinking, but her former Denver home is said to be the site of some unusual happenings. According to a blog on Mysterious Colorado, paranormal oddities occur regularly at the Molly Brown House Museum in Denver, including furniture disturbances and alleged sightings of the ghost of Molly and her husband, James Joseph Brown. Sightings of Molly's mother in an upstairs window have also been reported, as well as mysterious smells such as Mr. Brown's tobacco and his wife's favorite rose-scented perfume. According to the Daily Mail, the house in England where the Titanic's captain was born also has a haunting history. It may come as no surprise that the childhood home of Captain Edward John Smith has been riddled with mysterious floods and unexplained icy chills, as well as ghostly sightings. Something that I want to mention in relation to this goes back to Molly Brown. She was called the unsinkable Molly Brown. They actually on, I think it was either A&E or the Travel Channel on cable last month, had a whole thing on like Titanic, and like they mentioned her house, and they actually showed what it looked like. I mean, it was a very beautiful home, and according to what they said, Molly Brown was actually a very down to earth, very, I use the word loosely, common woman. I mean, she was just not like as a prostitute common, but she was just normal. That's a little bit more like it. Normal. She's just more normal, everyday person, not the stuck up, self-important, I'm rich, and I've been this way my whole life kind of person, or I got lucky and married into it kind of person. She got lucky, and her and her husband actually came into money, so they were like new money, as opposed to like old money, like somebody that inherited or something. It'd be like, she'd be like Donald Trump today, for example. He's considered new money, and then like his daughter Ivanka is considered old money, since she's basically coming from money with her dad and stuff. That's just an example. Of course, as far as like James Cameron's Titanic movie, and like they re-released it this year in honor of the 100th anniversary. James Cameron is so into Titanic. I read an article about him. He's really into it. I mean, like, he sits on an advisory board for it, and he just wants this stuff protected, because he actually shot like real time photos of the actual wreckage and everything, and he just was fascinated with it. I actually enjoy it too, and so does Tony. We went and seen the Titanic exhibit up at Union Terminal, like either last year in 2011 or in 2010, whenever it was here last. And it was like the inaugural showing of it, and it was just the neatest thing I've ever seen. And Tony agrees. Like, they actually, like, there's this one room, like, you'll enter, and it's really frigid cold in there, and like, it shows you how cold it was like the night that the Titanic sank. And they have this like really high up like ice block that's like like I'd say 10 or 12 feet high and like 10 or 12 feet long, and it's like on this like thing that keeps it just really frigid, and it shows you what the iceberg felt like. It's like you touch it, you're like you can't help but pull yourself away from it, because it's just so cold. And it's like, I can't imagine being in that frigid water that night. I mean, that is a horrible way to die. I mean, it's by freezing to death and hypothermia and everything. I mean, it's unreal. And it's like, they should have, of course, had more lifeboats, and they should have got as many people on the boats as they could, but they didn't. I mean, the Titanic is, of course, and everybody knows this, a lesson in, maritime ignorance or what have you. I mean, it's like, what could go wrong did, and, more people would have survived or could have survived if they'd all gotten their acts together. Well, anyway, I just wanted to share that article with you all, and I want to thank you for watching, and hang on, I'll have more videos for you soon. Bye.